It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends, ladies and gentlemen. I want to do another What the WTF print industry news. You can see above the WTF, we got the Lexmark logo, and today I want to discuss an article that was published in ENX magazine. It was an interview with Clark Bug from Lexmark and Eric Cagle over there at ENX magazine. I'm reading this interview and I'm thinking to myself, wow, stop! I mean, I got sick a couple of different times. So I can't read the whole article to you here today, but I do want to go through some of it, and I have the reality portion of the article that was omitted in the interview. I want to share some of that with you. But ladies and gentlemen, I just don't get it. I don't understand why our industry is still allowing Lexmark to propagate pure nonsense in the marketplace regarding their relationship with 9-Star. And those of you that don't know, but I'm sure that most of you all do, right? 9-Star owns Lexmark. 9-Star is a PRC controlled by the Communist Chinese Party. 9-Star, the PRC controlled by the Communist Chinese Party, has been banned over slave labor, part of the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. That went into effect June 9th. Lexmark wasn't part of the ban, but 9-Star owns over 60% of the equity in Lexmark and makes all their machines. So as far as I'm concerned, they were guilty by association. But of course, I might be a little unique in our industry because I really can't stand the Communist Chinese Party, and I don't want to help support them in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I think that's outrageous, you know. And look, I get it. There's some fantastic Chinese people. We have great Chinese friends. But at the end of the day, freedom-loving people don't like the Chinese Communist Party or the PRCs, right? They don't like that crap. They don't like slave labor. That's outrageous stuff. And when PRCs own subsidiaries throughout the free world and those PRCs do outrageous things, well, those subsidiaries are guilty by default because the money goes back to the PRC. Ladies and gentlemen, I do take this personal because I can't stand the fact that the industry that I call home, those friends of mine that sell, supply, and service print equipment, are being deceived like this, or find themselves in a position where they're more concerned about their friends than they are about freedom itself. It's craziness. It's complicated, I get it. But I believe that the people that work at Lexmark throughout the free world, the people that work at Lexmark even in China, are good people. But the PRC being controlled by a ruthless dictator, allowing that PRC to use slave labor in their manufacturing processes, that's disgusting at all levels. There is no forgiveness. And unfortunately, good people fall victim to that. But until our industry is willing to wake up to those realities, we're just helping, we're aiding and abetting a PRC company that's been banned over forced enslaved labor. Ladies and gentlemen, there's the article. You can see it for yourself. I can't read the whole thing because I don't want to throw up on my table here in the studio because it's really disgusting. But it was put out there by ENX magazine. It was published Tuesday, January 30th, 2024. I had to check the date to make sure this wasn't some old article. But ladies and gentlemen, I do want to point out some things. I'm going to share some thoughts, share some realities. Second paragraph. Take our word for it. This announcement targeted for the spring will be every bit the game changer, Bug terms it. Take our word for it? Lexmark, why would anybody take your word for anything? You've been distracting, distorting, I believe outright lying since June 9th about your relationship with 9-Star. Why would we take your word for anything? Let's get deeper into the article. I wanted to share this. This wasn't part of the article, but they got a big announcement coming. And, you know, Ryder opened up an Indiana distribution center for printing giant Lexmark. So I don't want them to fool people and start telling the marketplace that they're manufacturing printers in Indiana, because that's not what they're doing. It's a distribution center. You know, those PRC companies are good about that. Let's ship all the stuff to Indiana. I mean, the Imaging Channel, there's a lot of dumb folks in that industry. They'll think it's all made in Indiana. They'll be out there saying, oh, those machines were made in Indiana. No, they weren't. They were just distributed from Indiana. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Something to think about. So, ladies and gentlemen, I also threw this slide in there. 250 Lexmark employees exited Lexmark. How many more are leaving? I mean, what's the number up to? You saw me, I did that episode when that was going on, right? I mean, the only reason that Mr. Bug has the job he has is because the guy he used to work for is no longer there. And he left along with a whole bunch of other people because everything's going so great at Lexmark, I guess. They don't need those guys anymore. Ladies and gentlemen. I also wanted to throw this in there to remind everybody about the first deceitful, distract, outright lie from Lexmark. And they tell us, you know, take our word for it. Holy crap. So this was their issue regarding the Department of Homeland Security banning 9-Star their owners. Never once did they say anything in there about the UFLPA. They called it a supply chain issue. They didn't publish it for 2 weeks after the event. The event, the Department of Homeland Security banning their owners 9-Star. They call their owners 9-Star an investor. They say that 9-Star is just one of their manufacturers, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing was just pure crap, right? I've challenged it numerous times on the end of the day with Ray, numerous times. Oh, by the way, you know, maybe the old boss over there at Lexmark, you know, was afraid to come on the end of the day with Ray, and maybe Clark's not. But Clark, you're more than welcome to come on the end of the day with Ray, and you could go through all this with me. I'd love to have you. Seriously. I mean, it'll be a tough damn interview. But you're a tough guy, right? I mean, I know some folks in our industry are not tough at all. We've been witness to that. But I'm thinking you're probably a pretty tough guy. You come on and you could tell us about the new manufacturing partner that you all have. You could talk to us about your privacy statement. There's so many things we could talk about. Again, you're welcome to come on, Clark. There's Mr. Bug, and this picture was taken at a meeting they had right around the time the Department of Homeland Security banned their owners 9-Star over the slave labor thing. But I wanted to underline this because I thought it to be so bizarre. Lexmark also announced in December, it's like a Christmas present to everybody, that it had replaced 9-Star as a supplier moving forward and transitioned to new vendors that have been at full manufacturing capacity since the middle of last November. Who are these people? I mean, why couldn't we just say who they are? This would be a great episode. This would be a great article. My God, 9-Star replaces their manufacturer 9-Star with this company. And then we would have to ask this question. Do you still ship back all the money to the PRC 9-Star since they own 60% of your equity? There's so many questions unanswered, and this to me is just complete nonsense. I mean, until you tell us who this other manufacturer is, these are just words on a sheet of paper that are completely useless. And no, I don't take your word for it. That goes to the president of Lexmark, Clark. I don't take your word for anything because you haven't earned that. What else do they talk about in here? Oh, this is great. This is Mr. Bug. We're coming off a fiscal year when Lexmark outperformed the market, which was very pleasing. Outperformed the market? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you all remember when I did the episode. Here was the cover sheet for it. Operating profit, this was through the third quarter of 2023. Operating profit was crashed 88% year over year. Horrible. And this is for 9-Star, the owners of Lexmark. Lexmark revenue was $1.5 billion. It was down 12%. And by the way, at that time, it represented 60% of 9-Star's total revenue. 60% of 9-Star's total revenue through the third quarter. And we're supposed to believe that 9-Star said, okay, Lexmark, go find another manufacturer. We don't care. Ladies and gentlemen, this is outrageous. It's just outrageous. This I just found on the internet, Actual Intelligence. This is out there right now. Google it. And it says right here, what's the headline say? This is a great headline. 9-Star to report massive net losses in FY 2023. Take our word for it. Everything's going great at Lexmark. Holy crap. Ladies and gentlemen, then they go on. They're talking about this top 50 BSD summit they had in Lexington back in June, right around the time the Department of Homeland Security banned their owners 9-Star over the forced labor thing. And I put up here in red. Talk about the past when the present is too disturbing. Who gives a crap about what happened in June, other than the fact that the Department of Homeland Security banned their owners 9-Star? I mean, if you focus more on that conversation, I could get it. How are we going to get through this? What are our strategies we put in place? How are you helping dealers communicate with end users about the fact that Lexmark's owners 9-Star are a PRC that got banned by the Department of Homeland Security? Let's have conversations that make sense, that are real. Now, Let's talk about the past. Remember when we all sat around and drank those Kentucky bourbon flights? Oh my gosh, it was fun. I can't wait to go back to another horse race in Kentucky. I put on here in red, WTF. Let's give the PRC 9-star all kinds of data, not just personal data. Let's give the PRC 9-star all kinds of data, not just personal data. I actually got that right off of the data policy at Lexmark. Stay tuned, I'll share it with you in a second. But the reason I put that there is that Mr. Bug's talking about this fantastic software, translation software. Ha! Yeah, let's put more data through that Lexmark cloud, through Lexmark translation services. Oh yes, I'm sure the PRC is all excited about that. I'm sure it's all excited about that. Ladies and gentlemen, if we don't start questioning this stuff as an industry, you know, I cannot be the only one in this industry outraged by Communist Party, PRC-controlled companies using slaves in their manufacturing process and infiltrating America. I can't be the only one upset about this in our industry. If this guy, Mr. Bug, is so forthright, is so honest, and take our word for it kind of stuff, where the hell was he in Boston? He should have showed up at that debate or the panel discussion. It wasn't even a debate. Where was he? He could have talked about how they're moving to another manufacturer. He could have talked about a lot of the realities that they've been distracting, outright, in my opinion, lying about. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bug talks about the importance of customer relationships that his dealers have with those end users and that Lexmark can benefit from those relationships. I put in red this: lying to customers is not in any way fostering great relationships. It's disgusting at all levels. That's how I believe. Whether that's Lexmark lying to dealers, or quite honestly, whether that's dealers not telling the truth to end users. And all my friends that are selling Lexmark into the marketplace, have you been honest with those end users? That's all my question is. Have you gone in there and told them that 9-Star owns Lexmark? They own the majority equity in Lexmark. 9-Star got banned over forced and slave labor. Have you shared that information with your end users? Because if you did, that's about a great relationship, telling the truth. When you don't share that, I think it's disgusting. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bug talks about how he loves talking with executives in the community. How he loves hearing the great things about Lexmark from end users. I put in red, if executives focused on the reality of Lexmark's PRC ownership, they would probably not be talking to Lexmark. Or the conversation might be, how do we offboard from Lexmark? Ladies and gentlemen, when we hide, distract, distort, outright lie to the community we service and support, that's a problem. Geopolitics are rearing their ugly head like never before. We have an opportunity as an industry to do the right thing. And here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really give a crap about Lexmark and 9-Star or 9-Star in the courts trying to sue over all this crap. And we said they were guilty and we didn't prove it and all this other crap. The bottom line is, Lexmark has not been forthright regarding their relationship with 9-Star since day one. And that should be concerning. Underneath what you see in red, it says cross-border transfers. I got to read it to you one time. This is right off of Lexmark's website. You could find it there easily under data privacy. Cross-border transfers. We are a global organization with offices and customers around the world to efficiently manage our business and best serve you. All kinds of data, not just personal data, may be transferred and accessed by Lexmark entities worldwide on the basis of this privacy notice and in alignment with international data privacy standards. We may store, transfer, and process personal data in the United States and other countries where we maintain facilities. By using our websites or services, you consent to any such transfer of information outside your country. So go ahead and sign up for that translation software. Go ahead and get on the Lexmark cloud. Ladies and gentlemen, I do take this personal. And I know my friends at Lexmark don't like my episodes regarding them. But it's not about them. It's about their owners. And people within the free world, they have a right to work wherever they want. And maybe some of those 250 employees or more that left Lexmark left because they don't want to work for a PRC-owned company that's been banned over forced slave labor. Maybe some of them don't care. But at the end of the day, we as an industry must care about the truth. That's all we should care about, the truth. And we should hold all our OEMs accountable to the truth. And when they try to distract, distort, what I believe outright lie to us, we damn sure should call them out. And Mr. Bug, or anybody at Lexmark, you're more than welcome to come on the end of the day with Ray and share some of the news that we're all waiting for, like who your new manufacturer is, because it's been in place since November. Just some things to think about, my friends, because we all know this: status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all on Monday.